Hi Cancer, welcome to your reading. This is going to be for April 2025. I can't believe I'm saying April already. I say this every time when the time feels like it's just flowing so quickly. So it is for Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. If this one doesn't resonate, definitely check out those other placements. It is a general reading. It may not resonate for everyone who watches. So as usual, we're going to get into your current energy, the near future, what you don't see coming, and then what Spirit wants you to focus on this month. And then we're going to clarify, get you some advice, and also pull some oracle cards. If you are returning, welcome back. Thank you guys for all of your support. If you're new, welcome. I do hope if you enjoyed the messages, you'll consider subscribing. And if you would like a personal reading, that information is in the description box below or the About section of my channel. All right, so let's get going and see what the theme of April is for you. Like we need any more of this. So Pluto, and it says transform. That doesn't always necessarily mean that it's going to be craziness, but let's see, because we know astrologically that there's just a lot of stuff going on. So if your energy is going to be Pluto, I just heard it's not going to be the same as what you've been experiencing. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, those of you that have been with me, you know I'm going to tell you the truth regardless. Transforming is good, because I feel like that means that if you've been having some things go on. I mean, let's just face it. It hasn't been the easiest energy for a while, and we've been constantly talking about how it's going to get a little bit better. But the idea is that this month, some things come to another end. And yes, the transformation is going to be there, and your year lightens up. And I'll mention this every time just to remind people, your year's going to lighten up around June or July. All right, so let's see what this energy is about. Let's get your overall with tarot. Okay, so the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Let's see. Okay, listen, I know that seems a little bit scary. Like, are things not starting out the greatest, seeming like the Wheel of Fortune is there in reverse going, well, things aren't going to go your way. Again, I always want to take things and turn them just a little bit, because even though it may feel a little bit uncomfortable, if April is that month when things start to truly transform after this Mars energy being retrograde in Cancer, what you're going to see is that moment where you go, okay, this is it. All of these months after Pluto transited from Capricorn into Aquarius, Cancers have been going through, as all the cardinal signs, this feeling of like, why are things slowing down? Why are things changing? Why does my work feel weird? Why does everything just feel a little bit weird? Well, because we had to be slowed down, Cancers, to get ready for this new version. And everything is just kind of like, you just weren't conscious of it before. Now you're more conscious of it, especially if you're following tarot, because people are explaining all of this stuff out loud. Before, we would just go through these transformations and deal with whatever was coming at us. This time we're more aware of it, which actually I think sometimes can make it a little bit more challenging. In this case, I want to say it may still feel like things aren't quite going the direction that you want, but they keep pointing to mid-April in my head. So I want to say around that time, things are going to become really clear. Let's see what your current energy is. The Knight of Swords. You're going to get the answers that you're looking for. If you're still questioning, like if you're still going back and forth, like I still don't understand, like what direction am I supposed to be going in? This is going to happen, and when it does happen, it's going to be pretty quickly. So if you've been taking advantage of this slower energy, which I hope you have, because it's kind of a resting point, as uncomfortable as that may be for most Cancers, regardless of where your Cancer placement hits, this is like, look, this comes in hot. It's going to be quick energy. You're going to have to be prepared for it. So if you're still feeling like you're in resting mode, then I would do your best to just completely fall into that and allow it to get you ready, because when things start moving, you know how it goes. Sometimes it can be a huge hit of like, wow, everything's so crazy and busy, and then it'll slow down for a short period of time, and then it gets crazy busy again. So they really want you to be prepared. Okay, so the King of Wands. I feel like this is your energy. It doesn't matter what gender you are, and I'll always say that just in case other people don't understand the way I read or how things come out. So this just feels like a strong, motivated, masculine side of your energy. And it's like, I'm taking back control of what's happening, because you really aren't in control. You can feel like you're controlling things in a sense. Let me make sense of that. So when we feel inspired is when we feel like we have control of things again. most of the time, and we're like, oh, okay, now I see, because I feel the motivation and I want to go, and I want to go after things. So I feel like you're just going to be in a place where you feel a sense of that fire coming back, that motivation coming back, and then things start picking up. And this is being really sure of it too. You know, it doesn't just have to be the Queen of Wands who's feeling very sure of herself. They're showing me the Star. So this on the bottom of the deck, I'm going to pull it because I feel like their intention is to say, listen, you had one foot in the past and one foot looking forward, and now something that you'd been really focusing your energy on. Maybe there was a part of you that says, look, I like this aspect of my work, but I don't like this aspect. How can I change it so that I can still do well, but focus primarily on this area of my life? I feel like that's what's happening with you. And there's a sense of, listen, you don't have to necessarily do anything to change. Sometimes the feeling just comes over you and you start to feel more confident and sure of yourself. And that's when you start to go after things. But if the energy is not there for you to do so and you try to push it, all you do is exhaust yourself. So I want to say, give yourself a little bit of a break and understand that there is something that's coming in. So are you leaving something in the past and focusing on what's going to take you forward? Yes. There is some aspect, you've been told this for months and months and months, that there's some aspect of what's going on in your energy, that there's some kind of release happening. And you're going to move past that. You're going to feel more confident about the direction that you're going in, and you'll be ready because the energy is going to shift. All right, so let's see what we have in the near future. We have the Four of Cups. They want you to be really aware that there could be energies coming towards you. Anytime there's a retrograde, your arms are crossed. I'm going to say you because I'm describing you obviously in this energy with this card. So the hand is reaching out. Hold on, my cat wants in my closet. Hold on, guys. Okay, go. So the hand is reaching out, and there's a part of you that isn't looking. Now I'm getting a different interpretation of this than I normally do. Spirit, I feel like Spirit's like, here is this cup, but a part of you kind of wants to ignore it. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because the Three Cups down here are saying this is the part of you that feels semi-emotionally fulfilled, but there's this one cup and they're trying to show it to you, but you're not seeing it. And listen, you're not doing anything wrong. Sometimes we're just not prepared for what's being offered to us in plain sight. But they're saying just make sure you do take a glance up and take a look at it. You don't have to accept offers that don't feel right to you. That's not the point of it. But the point is sometimes not to have too much resistance, which we can do when we've been through enough rough things. We do. We cross our arms, sit down. I know I do. I can be a baby sometimes. So if you do this, listen, give yourself a break for it. Cross your arms and say, I'm just so frustrated. I don't even care what's coming at me at this moment. So just know they are asking you to take a look at what is coming, because I feel like this is reaching through, meaning it's them trying to get your attention a little bit. The Knight of Cups. And it's an encouragement. This is emotional well-being. So the Knight of Cups is like, I'm moving a little bit slower, but at least I'm sure I'm taking the steps towards the things that make me happy now. So 3 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago, even something could still have been in your life that was bringing you joy. And now maybe it's not so much. And maybe there's a part of you that's like, no, this just doesn't feel good to me anymore. So I have to observe that in myself, feel that really strongly, and that know that, you know, shifts come and happen, and it's okay for me to feel good about one thing, but not necessarily something that I used to love and adore, and release it. All right, so Knight of Cups, then we have the Ace of Wands. Okay, remember I said over here, it's like there's a part of you that feels more, I don't know, sure of yourself. You're having a better understanding. You're leaving something really fully in the past and pouring more energy into what you know you want to create at this point. The Ace of Wands is an indication that something new is starting, or this is a new inspiration. What I'm going to say is the same thing I said to you in the next 10 days and may repeat in a couple of your readings. I don't think this is about major changes in your work environment. I think this is doing things differently. And there doesn't have to be like a snap of a finger major change and then all of a sudden you're on this new path. It could be a subtle shift. But, you know, when the universe wants to come in and say, this just isn't working for you anymore, so we're going to kind of push you into this direction, and hear us when we show you the little signs of what is best for you. We know this, and we want you to feel into your body and know that it feels right to you. So the point of this is, I don't think this is a new start. I don't think this is like, I need something brand new in my life. I don't want to say it in 5 different ways. You get the point. All right, so let's see what you don't see coming. The Six of Pentacles. Okay, so two things. One is, I think you'll be in a position, this is what you may not be feeling at this point. The whole idea of this is that you have enough, which you may have not been feeling like you were making enough or doing well enough that you felt fully secure. Everybody has a different idea of what security looks like financially. But I feel like what they're trying to say is you're going to be in a position where you can not only just take care of you, but you're going to have overflow is the idea. Because yes, this can be about balance, but there's actually two people beneath him begging for some help. Do you have to be cautious of that as well? Absolutely. But I think you'll be in a position where you feel like I'm finally taking care of me first. And then when I have some overflow, I can help the people that I genuinely want to, or just, give in some way, but it's going to feel good to you, not feel like you're depriving yourself to give to others. Big difference, really big difference. So they want you to understand you will get to a place where this is possible for you. Okay, and then the 10 of Cups. And listen, when you start changing the way that you do things, they want to remind you over and over again, every couple of months, to remember that some people are not going to like this. When you start actually shifting your attention towards yourself and you stop giving the way that you have in the past, yes, it's going to upset some people. So, okay, there may be some upset and some family members, but you have to do what's best for you. And I think you'll be okay with it. They're like, have some patience while these changes are happening. So the Star and the Temperance, one's Aquarius, one's Sagittarius energy. You may have some of that in your, or just look in your chart and see where that is if you do astrology stuff, because it could be significant where those placements are and what houses they're in. So she is basically going back and forth. To me, it's emotions, right? She, again, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But a part of you is kind of, how do I explain this? It's like you go back and forth with your emotions because what comes naturally to you is to be helpful to the people that you love and care about. And also the side of you that goes, I am so done. It's almost bringing up, I want to say, a sense of frustration. So again, closing out a cycle, if this is in your work life as well, where you feel like, I'm just done with doing this part of it. It doesn't bring me joy, period. And if that makes other people unhappy, I'm going to have to learn how to deal with that and set them aside. The same with this Temperance card saying, have patience with yourself as you go back and forth. Remember, you're ruled by the moon, so your emotions can change literally from day to day, which can be frustrating for yourself and not necessarily for the people around you. They just don't necessarily understand it. But while you're working through these emotions, you have to give yourself a little bit of grace. So they go from saying you're going to have enough, but you may not be giving the way that you used to. And this is because something in you is really, really changing. And it's hard because it is a lot of emotions to weigh out, right? To think about, well, this is the way I used to be and it felt so good to do this, but now I just don't feel the same way about it. The feeding yourself first before you feed everybody else, because you have to have the energy to do so. All right, let's keep going and see what Spirit wants you to focus on. The world. Okay, so we know that we close out cycles and start new cycles all the time. She's a little naked, so I'm just going to put her down just in case. I don't want anything being flagged on my video. Okay, so the world, yes, Spirit's like, this is obviously a huge transformational time for you, clearly with Pluto coming out as your theme for this month. So you may actually feel, not because you're physically doing something to change it, but you may feel the energy around you shifting in such a significant way, because it is such a big energy, that your whole world may start to seem, feel, look a little bit different. You may perceive it differently, and they're just wanting you to focus on that. The Devil is in reverse. There's still some of these difficult energies that have been lodged onto you, belief systems, things like that, that I still think you're breaking free from. But they're like, this is what's changing. You're not going to be chained to these old ways of doing things. You just aren't. And listen, the Devil is not always a bad card. Even in the upright, it can be things, that are very passionate, or some kind of a heated connection between you and another person. So I just want to say that, because I think people think it's just an awful card, and it's actually not. But in reverse, I would say there are some toxic energies, some things around you that you had felt like, I can't let this go, because it just has to be at this time. And I think you're going to find yourself saying, you know what, I'm not chained to that anymore. I'm not chained to the idea that things have to look a certain way in order for me to feel okay. That's what I feel like this is saying to you, because it's as much about how we feel as it is anything else, right? And when they talk about experiencing creating your reality, your emotions, yes, but you're going to feel things. You're going to feel things. So you can't toxically say to yourself, I have to be positive all the time because I'm creating my reality. I don't know why this is coming up, but somebody needed to hear this. I believe that we do, in some aspects, create our reality, but we also can't control the things that are going to come up for us. So there are going to be times when things don't feel great, and we're going to have to process emotions. And yes, we can create our reality to a certain extent. There's only so much we can make happen, if you will. I know we still think as humans that we have control over things, but this is like you letting go of wanting to keep control over circumstances or thinking that you have that, and understanding that some of that frustration or some of the things that you've experienced have come from a place of thinking that, well, if I work harder or I do more or all of these things, that means that life is going to change or get better. And they're wanting you to release that control, because we really have to in this age of Aquarius, so that we can just understand that it's about the things flowing into our lives and not being concerned so much about how they're going to happen. Because the lighter we are and the more we relax into that energy and we just let things happen as they will, then we can deal with them as they happen. And we can pull ourselves back from stressing about what the future is going to look like and focus on the guidance that we're getting today. Okay, next we have the Five of Cups. So this is a great thing, because they're like, look, everything that you've been dealing with is changing right now. So the Devil's in reverse and the Five of Cups is in reverse, which tells me that there might be some feelings that you've been processing that you're leaving behind and that are no longer going to be 100% focused on. Just a lot of purging, like I said, again, in the next 10 days. So just know, and they keep pointing to mid-April, that you may still feel a little bit like some of this energy is here, but you're going to be releasing that. And you're not going to have to go back and deal with these things as much or as often as you were before. You're going to be purging a lot of those sad emotions and things that have been hanging on for a while. Now, let's see if there's a challenge we have. Look, some of you, and this is really important, the Seven of Wands is in reverse, which tells me there's a vulnerability. And it being in the challenge, it's hard, I think, for you to be vulnerable sometimes after having experienced the things that you have. So you may find yourself in a place where you are not necessarily blocked off energetically. You just are cautious of who you're vulnerable with at this time. So it's not abnormal. There's times and places to be vulnerable. And I think you recognize that it can be a little bit tough for you at times because you have experienced a lot. And there's been a lot coming up that you've had to push out and get rid of and release. So you may not feel like the most gushy, ooey gooey person during this time. All right, let's go to clarify. Let's see what Pluto says that Pluto card is about when they're talking about transformation. Okay, the Seven of Swords. Interesting, it's in reverse. So a lot of times there's concern around whether somebody is telling the truth around you, or you could be dealing with people that are fraudulent or lying or whatever that may have represented in the past. It's in reverse. So they're not giving me an absolute clear message. I feel like these are things that you're just not going to be dealing with the same way that you used to. So you're transforming out of maybe an era of dealing with narcissistic behavior, releasing the energy connected to that, not feeling like you constantly have to look over your shoulder. You may feel more at ease, like I am just in this energy of I'm not that worried about people crossing my path because I'm too observant. I don't have to be concerned that they're coming into what feels like do harm, even though they served a significant purpose in your life. That's the hardest thing to understand about this whole being human. In this case, I feel like it's like I don't have to constantly look over my shoulder, which I think is a good thing. The Knight of Swords, those energies are not going to be coming towards you. So that's what they're talking about. The transformation is there's less of those types of tests and energy coming towards you, especially in April. So you're going to get a bit of a, I can take a deep breath. Now the Wheel of Fortune with the King of Cups in reverse. Some of you may feel like there was loss or something wasn't working out connected to a person, significant other, and it is coming out. And listen, this could also be your relationship with your father figure in reverse. If that person was not emotionally available or wasn't present, those could have been challenges for you in this life that you had to work through and overcome. And maybe things didn't work out the way that you had hoped. But this, again, this is something you're transforming from. So take it, I don't want to say that, take it as it resonates. Not everybody had an awful relationship with their father, but a lot of people did have some challenge through the parent, because that's where it starts in this life. So just know that if you had hoped things were going to go in one direction and they just didn't, it's something's transforming within that relationship, or how you deal with the energy of that relationship and how it formed you in this life. All right, so let's get back to this, because totally different. Knight of Swords with the King of Wands. The Three of Pentacles is coming out in reverse. Okay, so whatever is trying to leave you around work, because this to me is like, I don't feel like I'm doing as well or getting the recognition that I deserve around this aspect of my work life, which makes sense because something's shifting and you're going to understand it. So April's going to make the most sense around your work life than any other month has up to this point. Just know that, yeah, it's being purposely pulled back. All right, so part of you, again, some wish that you've had. Maybe you thought 3 years ago, this is where I would like my work life to be. This is what I want it to look like. And it didn't get there. And now it's showing up for you. And you're like, but wait a minute. I feel a little bit challenged by letting go of this because it's what's worked over the last couple of years. So I'm going to continue to focus forward and not look back is what they're asking you to do, because something that you had hoped would happen, and then we get the Ace of Swords, is coming around. So the Ace of Swords is saying you're going to get the clarity that you need around this. You're going to understand it more clearly in the month of April than you probably have, again, over the last few years. Okay, so the Four of Cups with the Knight of Cups. The Two of Cups is in reverse. Oh, interesting. Off messages, they're all over the place today, so bear with me. This one is like somebody may come in, may try to offer you something, and look, remember I said the retrograde, and you're like, I just don't connect with that anymore. There's a different version of me. I feel differently now, and I just want to go in a different direction. That's that. The other message was about Spirit trying to show you this, and you're like, nope, nope, I don't really want to look at it. It might be worth looking at, just especially not the person, whatever they're bringing into you and saying, like, would this fulfill you emotionally? It's like asking the question and poking at you to say, well, we want to give you different options. And we want you to take a look at it. As far as this person's concerned, if they come back around, this is not somebody who understands you. So just know anything that comes back around, any relationship, this person does not see you the way that you would hope to be seen at this point in your life. So just know that. They may try to stumble in and say, but, just be aware of the energy. There's nothing that's going to come from it with the Ace of Wands in reverse. All right, and then the Four of Cups. Again, so you're starting it and ending this row with the same thing. And in this case, you're taking a look at it, but you have to remember the Three Cups are here. So that's an indication that you're already fulfilled. And yeah, something may look a little shiny, and maybe you'll take a look at it, but I don't think you're going to accept it, because this is telling you right here, this person is not on the same page with you. Okay, so let's look at the Six of Pentacles with the Ten of Cups. And then we have the Four of Wands. Okay, let me explain the scenario the best way I know how, at least the way that Spirit's showing it to me. If there are family members outside of let's say you're in a marriage or you're in a relationship and you have children, and other people have been pulling at you and they get upset because you're not there for them the way that you used to be, and your primary focus is now on you and your core, like the people that mean the most to you, and that's where you're putting your efforts, just know that this is Spirit's way of saying, look, you need to focus on exactly that. So anything external that may be extended family or people that are outside of you that may be tugging at you and wanting something from you, they're like, nope, you need to draw your focus back in and put it back on yourself. And try not to feel, I feel this sense of like guilt around it. And they're trying to say, don't feel guilty about pulling that energy back. Again, try to be patient with yourself while you're working through some of these emotions. Sometimes it's hard to pull ourselves completely out of a situation and just snap our fingers and be done with it. So if you still have people tugging at your energy, this would be the time when I think you make a more sound decision around who you need to keep at bay. So I keep seeing a hand pushing out like, nope, I think I'm good. Like these are the core people that I need to focus my energy on, and I just don't have it to give to you, whether it's financial or energetic. All right, so under that we have the stars coming out in reverse. This is not, see, they're trying to tell you that you've healed from some of this or you're healing through some of it, and it is not good for you anymore. It may have worked for you in the past. It may have been great. It may have been fulfilling, but this is something that just doesn't work for you anymore. Okay, so the world with the devil in reverse, and then we have the Ace of Cups. See, they're going to keep harping on filling your own cup first. And that's what this is about. That's what's changing, is feeling more fulfilled yourself, which makes your outer experiences better when you really focus on that. So I think you're going to start feeling more and more and more fulfilled after purging some of this stuff that's popped up over the last couple of months. I mean, there's always stuff that's going to pop up, but you know, there's other times when energetically, astrologically, things are really, really heavy, and it's like, oh, you're being kind of dredged through the mud. And in this case, I feel like they're trying to tell you this isn't going to be that time. You're going to be feeling much better. You're going to be able to really see how pouring into yourself is beneficial to you, and be able to take a deep breath and just kind of release those emotions. The Eight of Swords is there because there was a sense of feeling kind of stuck in your head about whatever's going on in your life. We each have different things that we're dealing with, different emotions, different experiences, obviously, that we're processing. And in this case, you could have felt like there was just no way to get out of it, but you will be. So April's going to be quite freeing. All right, so this inability to be too open, the Hangman, the Challenge, feeling kind of stuck and like, do I really want to get vulnerable again, yet again? And I understand, but you'll move through this energy. It's just, it's challenging to go from such a slow period. I mean, the last 3 months have felt like they're just literally dragging, not just for Cancers, but you specifically because of the Mars placement. But this feeling of like, well, God, I've just been dangling for so long. How do I get the energy to get back up and really push forward? You will. And to also be open to whatever's going on. Being vulnerable is not easy when you've learned how to really set proper boundaries. Okay, let's keep going because I want to see what advice they have for you. What advice? I always go so long with you guys. All right, so we have the Nine of Wands. Feeling like constant feeling of the wounded warrior energy. They're like, no, you're stepping on the other side of this. Like you're not going to be that, you're not going to be in that position where you feel that way. You're going to be, how do I describe this? They're showing me a image of someone who is no longer wearing those bandages. Like those bandages are falling off, if that makes sense. I don't want to get too dramatic. You get what I'm saying? Like, yes, you've been through it, but now you're really shedding. You're really shedding a lot of those things. They just aren't going to stick to your energy anymore, and they want you to go with that Five of Wands. Yeah, there's not a lot of lessons left. I'm not saying you're not going to have challenges. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to put that out there that things are always going to be easy breezy, but this type of deep transformative energy is definitely starting to move from your life and go focus on other people so you can feel a little bit left alone. The Ace of Wands, you may have felt blocked from energies and motivation and all of those things. They're like, okay, but you're wrapping this up, so hang tight. The Hanged Man, they're like, just hang on a little bit longer because it's come out here in the challenge position. So when you're forced to kind of hang around and energy feels like it's stagnant and not moving, it can be tough, especially for a Cancer. You guys want to feel like you're accomplishing something during the day, and if you feel like you can't push towards your goals and something keeps pulling you back, it can seem a little frustrating. You're like, just bear with us. You're going to be hanging out for just a little bit longer, and then things are going to start, yep, things are going to start moving. But here's what I'm going to say, and I said this before. I want to reiterate this. If it comes out in every one of your readings until then, just know that it's because they want to keep reminding you. The Chariot is you, and it's your birthday time. And they're like, just hang around. It's not quite here, but this is an indication that it's going to start moving much more quickly. Yes, you'll start feeling some shifts in April, But then May, June, you know, you're just starting to kind of kick things around. And then Jupiter transits into your, into Cancer, sorry. And then you'll start to see things change. And then there's an 18-month period where you might go, wow, okay, this is starting to work and this is starting to work. And now I feel like things are really shifting and changing. So just keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and see what other advice they might have for you. Other advice. Challenge your perception. Okay. Be vigilant, which is good. I mean, you don't need to exhaust yourself because the energy is going to show up. Stay strong. And wash away your burdens. See, that's the thing. I think carrying the burdens of all the things that are about being human can be the most exhausting when we just kind of say, it's okay. Today's a new day. I'm going to go with whatever's happening in this day. And I know things are going to work out just fine. Just go with it. Not toxic positivity. If you feel bad, scream. Like, do you. But in this case, they're like, just let those burdens kind of go from you and allow yourself to feel okay where you are. All right, what do we have next? Let's get the Lover's Oracle and see if there's any messages here for you. Reflection, give each other some space at the moment. Trust and have faith that all will work out for the best. Now, that's for those of you that are in a relationship and you feel like maybe there's some things that need to be worked out. And maybe you just need, that's it. Sometimes we just need space. If you're not with somebody, obviously that's not going to apply. Surrender. At times we must surrender the old before something new can enter our lives. Let go and all will work out. We know that's what this is about. There is definitely a shedding of some old version of ourselves. Manifesting miracles. Your dream is soon to become a reality. Trust your heart and continue to follow its guidance. So important to know that, yes, those little miracles, those little things that you've been trying to manifest for maybe a really long time are finally going to be coming to pass. All right, let's see what the Wisdom of the Oracle has. Serendipity. So you've got the manifesting miracles and the serendipity card. The 18th of April. Pay attention to that date. When I give you dates, listen, is it going to be mind-blowing? I'm not 100% sure, but when they point it out, I want to point it out to you. So just remember the 18th of April. So you could be born on the 18th, the 1st, the 8th, or the 9th. It seems like that may be a really lucky day in some way. And then we have Treasure Island. So this is the end of one version of you moving into a much better version, and you're going to start seeing some of the blessings that are coming through that. So you could be born on the 9th and then a new life. This is important because I feel like every Cancer deserves this at this point. All the cardinal signs do, but you really do deserve this new version of yourself that it's like you're busting out of this little cup right here, how she's coming through like, look at me, I'm new. There's something about me that's so different. So you could be 39, born on the 3rd, the 9th, or the 12th of the month. And then we have peace, which is the most important thing. We couldn't ask for more. So April is not only going to start bringing in this feeling like things are getting better, the luck, yes, manifesting little miracles here and there. This new life, this new version of you, and a sense of peace, which I think is most important. So you could be 23, born on the 23rd, the 2nd, the 3rd, or the 5th. All right, we're going to get, let's get a message for you from the Australian Animal Oracle. Oh, God. The Brolga Sacred Dance. So number 40, I say, oh, God, because I don't know how to pronounce all of these. I've had, thank you for those of you that are Australian that come in and tell me how to pronounce them properly. I just really love these cards. She did such a beautiful job. All right, let's see what the message is. I don't think I've ever gotten this one before. The Brolga is here to remind us it is through dance and the movement of our body that we connect to our inner rhythm of self. Brolga invites us to experience this sacred dance and feel the freedom of expression emanating from spirit. This card asks you to dance your dance with confidence, to display your inner and outer beauty and attract into your life those who appreciate your gracefulness and inner truth. That was really sweet. I love that. The keywords are expression, attraction, free spirit, and dance. So go be you, because you know you want to break out and dance around the room by yourself to your favorite music. So go do that, especially in the month of April. All right, my loves, this was a pleasure. I really do hope you guys have an amazing month. Thank you so much for being here. Please hit the like button and leave me a comment. And as you know, if you'd like a personal, you know where the information is in the description box below. Take really good care, and I will see you in the next one.